Hallelujah. Praise the Most High, my soul, and all that is within me. Praise Yah. My name is Yamsuf Arif. This is the Real Talk for Real People Study Show, where the administrative show, my Isha, Sister Nasanya, helps produce and bring this show to your enlightenment and for your intense studies and your meditations. Brother Kadriel, my fellow elder on the council also of the nation, is here along with me to do our due diligence as elders of the nation, seeing that we don't have a king that has been taken away. We don't have the high priesthood that has been taken away, but we still have elders, not any elder, but an elder that lets the Most High footstep be his pathway, not no one else's, but the Most High. Praise the Most High. But before we get started in our studies, which I guess you can garner what we're studying, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and certainly get some idea and perspective on our people, seeing that we're totally confused about everything. We'll be studying in the second book of Maccabees, chapter 4. In these studies, you'll find out the social engineering and conditioning didn't just start now. We were Hellenized in ancient times. But the fact they had one leg up on us. At least they knew who they were and what they should be doing. But we don't have that today. And that's why we have been reduced to a monstrosity much farther than our ancient ones. We don't know who we are, and what we should be doing. And we somewhat Hellenized. Following after the Most High said, don't follow after other nations. But we did it. We elected to do it in ancient times, and we certainly in these contemporary times are electing to do the very same thing. But we're here to you to bring our history so you can get some perspective and understanding, so you can get some wisdom, and she points you in the right direction. Simply following 4 or 5 mandates, crying out to the Most High, you know you're in dire straits. I think Donald Trump finna put a whole lot of us in dire straits. Yeah, I ain't lying. And I hope he does. If that compels us to cry out to the Most High, if that compels us to first turn to the Most High, turn away from your idolatry. Secondly, cry to the Most High. Cry for our ancient ones, in the case of the Maccabees, for the mistakes they made, and many, many more. And simply and seriously, in our contemporary times, we're much more focused, we're much more off the reservation. Also, to gather yourselves together. I'm not simply talking about a bunch of bricks all gathered together. It does no good for a whole lot of bricks to be gathered together in one pile. Formulated in formation, cemented. And what I mean by the cementing process, by the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You need his word to cement us together. Because otherwise, if we choose to gather ourselves together, it's going to be a continued monstrosity. We're going to get together, argue, cuss, fuss, and fight, and sometimes kill. It's true. The evidence spoke for itself in ancient times, and it certainly speaks for itself in these contemporary times. And finally, according to the mandate, do good by our widow women. Do good by our orphan. Simply our needy. And finally, along that vein, simply learn how to do good. Stop being socially engineered and conditioned. Follow after the mandates. Word of the Most High. Praise Yah and bless his holy name. So without further ado, let me introduce to you my Isha, the administrator of the show, Sister Nasanya. Sister Nasanya, you have some open remarks. Excuse me. Hold on for a minute, Sister Nasanya. My apologies. Cartriel will be studying in chapter 6 of Amos, the prophet Amos, warning to Zion and Samaria. Hey, yeah, warning. Yeah, well, we missed that, but Cartriel's going to break it down to you. I'm sorry, Isha. You have the mic.
It's okay. Shalom, shalom, family. All praises. So happy to be back. Ready for the show. Blessed
Thank you.
to be here. All praises.
Thank you, Isha. Thank you, Nasanya. Brother Cottrell, you have the mic.
Shalom, shalom, family. Bless Yah, O my soul, and all that's within me. Bless his holy name. Giving thanks, praise, and honor to the Holy One of Yisrael, the Elohim of our fathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yisrael. May he continue to bless and be with all of us. Shalom, family. How y'all doing? Good to hear your voices.
We're doing rather well, but I can speak for my Esau and I. And may we ask the very same thing in regards to you and your family, my brother.
Everybody's well. Praise Yah. Got my little
Praise
grandson
Yah,
running around.
Is Princess over there?
Yeah, Little Red Riding Hood today.
Yeah, tell her Uncle Yum Sue said, Sean.
Uncle Yamsu.
Uncle Yum Sue.
Yeah.
And Auntie
Apple.
Nasanya. And Auntie Nasanya said shalom.
Gotcha.
You gotta have some apples. You gotta have some apples to talk with.
Yeah, I forgot. We ain't got no apples right now.
They
We'll
just
catch
got
up with her on that.
oranges, so they don't need the apples right now.
Okay, you got some oranges though. I got plenty of oranges.
Nanos. Got some nanos, Cottrell. We got some nanos.
Y'all ain't helping right now. You're just telling me what y'all got because y'all can't get that to me right now.
I know, right?
Right now.
All right, brother. Okay, I bad, brother. Thank you, Brother Cottrell. Thank you, Esau, Nasanya. Fellow students, we're about to proceed in these studies, but before we do, I'd like to point out the fact that after these studies, after Brother Cottrell has concluded the studies in the Prophet Amos, I will be reading our National Child Charter in its captivity and our Constitution in this captivity. Praise Yah. That will conclude the show entirely. So, without further ado, let's get started. Second book of Maccabees, chapter 4. This Simeon we read about in the other chapter, this scoundrel, this renegade, mentioned above as the informer against the funds and against his country, began slandering. That's what we do. We do this in modern time on Ananias, slander one another, insinuating that the latter had been responsible for the assault on Helodoras and himself, had contrived this misfortune. Simeon now had the infantry, this audacity, to name this benefactor of the city, this protector of his compatriots. He put dirt on his brother. This zealot for the laws on Ananias. And he said, as an enemy of the public good. I suspect they said the very same thing about Cottrell and I. It goes without saying, just because you on Team Yah don't mean Team Dirty gonna be at you. It's just that simple. But I would suggest and advise, don't get your a slingshot, don't get your bow and arrow, don't get your AK-47. Get you some Yah. Pray to Yah, bless those that bless me and curse those that curse me. And I would go to, and this was shared with me with Brother Cottrell. I would go to the Psalms 91. Activate the plan. Praise Yah. The hostility reached so proportions that murders were actually committed by Simeon's agent. He activated other people against Ananias. Murders as a result of by some of Simeon's, our brother. This brother is a brother. And at this point, the high priest Ananias, recognizing how mischievous this rivalry was, and aware that Apollonius, this Greek son of Menetius, this Greek, the general commanding Syria and Phoenicia, was encouraging Simeon. And our enemies always encourage us to do something. The modus operandi doesn't change, but the time may change. What most often has changed in historically is time and technology. Otherwise, the Most High said, ain't nothing under the sun ain't been done before. So don't be shocked when there's animus against you. It's just the way it is. Praise the Most High. So went to see the king, in verse 5, not to play the accuser of his fellow citizens, but having the public and private welfare of the entire people. He didn't go there trying to drop salt. He went there to play like, hey, I ain't trying to drop salt now on Yom Super Reaper on Country or on the Sonya, but I got their best interests at heart. Although I don't have a show to help nobody study nothing, but Country, he dirty, Yom Su dirty, and the Sonya dirty. What they did, I don't know, but they look dirty to me. Come on now. And try to get points at the behest of your brothers and our sisters. And although you're not doing very much yourself, these accusers. He saw that without some intervention by the king, this king, an orderly administration would no longer be possible. Nor would Simeon put a stop to his folly. He saw this. But I have to go back. This was the high priest Ananias that went before them for some intervention. Because he realized, and he did it for the public good. He wasn't like I described. He didn't want to backstab. He didn't want to sing an OJ song that smile in your face all the time. They want to take your place. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to put the public and the private welfare of the entire people at heart. So that's what the high priest Ananias wanted to do. Unlike Simeon, Simeon could care less. He wanted that spot. He saw that without some intervention by the king of the Greeks, an orderly administration would no longer be possible. Why? Nor would Simeon put a stop to his folly. When Seleucus, this Greek, had departed this life, and Antiochus, this Greek style, named Epiphanes, had succeeded to the kingdom. Jason, this Greek, excuse me, my apologies. Jason, this brother, well, the brother of the high priest Ananias, usurped the priesthood. He wanted the spot. We always seem to, and a lot of people say, man, we just lost. We ain't no good. But look here, truth be told, we wasn't no good then. Because why? Because y'all said we all dirty out here. Y'all said y'all all had to come under the auspices and control and the mandates of the Most High. And I can clean you up. But you can't do it on your own. I'm not suggesting, inferring, and implying that you ought to continue being dirty. But what I am suggesting, inferring, and implying, that you need to have the Most High in your lives. That's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying only. Because otherwise, we'll continue backstabbing, like the OJ said. He approached the king with a promise. This is Jason, our brother, 360 talents of silver with 80 talents to come from some other source of revenue. Jason, in verse 9, he further committed himself to paying another 150 if the king would empower him to set up. See, when we go dirty, we don't go a little bit dirty. We go all the way dirty. So he said, no, I want to set up a gymnasium of the Hellenistic style and youth center, and to rescue the Antichist, they call him Antichrist now. I don't know how they work Antichist to Antichrist, but the Antichist was simply, they were advocates and followers of the kingdom of Antiochus. They were Greeks of Jerusalem, but now they've turned it to Antichrist. Man, that's a good play on word. Antiochus, a follower of the Greek Antiochus of Jerusalem. Do y'all get what I'm saying? Verse 10. When the king gave his assent, Jason, one of our brothers, as soon as he has seized power, imposed the Greek way of life. And what did y'all say in that regard? Do not become like other nations. Do not follow their ways. It seems that we've doubled down it in ancient times. We seem to further double down it on these contemporary times. We want to be Democrats. We want to be Republicans. We want to be Black Lives Matter. We want to be gay rights movements. We want to be everything what the Most High says. How's that working out for us? Verse 11. He suppressed the liberties which the king had graciously granted to the Yehudites. This Greek came and gave us some liberties, and he restricted us on that. At the instance of John, father of that Eupolemus, who was later to be sent on an embassy to negotiate a treaty of friendship and alliance with the Romans, and overthrowing the lawful institution, our institution, introduced new usages contrary to the law. We did that in ancient times, and we pushed the agenda in these contemporary times. Verse 12. He went so far as to found a gymnasium at the foot of the citadel in the city of Jerusalem, and to fit out the noblest of Hishu, our people, and the Pathosos, which are Greek hats. we were Greek hats. We want to be like the Greeks in all kind of ways, certainly in these contemporary times, the Romans and the Greeks. It was a hat that the young Greeks wore, and our men went about to parading around in them too. That's why we always like to parade around like peacocks. Verse 13. Godless wretch that he was, and no true high priest, Jason set no bounds to his. He knew no limitations. Indeed, the Hellenizing process reached such a pitch that the priest ceased to show any interest in serving the art. You can take the motivation. Evil folk can take the motivation out of good folks. We see that in ancient times, and we certainly can attest to that fact in these contemporary times. But scorning the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, they would hurry on the stroke of the gun to take part in the dispute. They haven't rushed the job that they were duty bound and morally obligated to do as levies. They haven't rushed the job. Why? To take part in the festivals. See a football game. See a basketball game. To march in the leprechaun parade. To march in the Twistmas time parade. We neglected our endeavors. I'm being sarcastic and facetious. But we rushed off to join forces with our enemy and collaborate in ancient times. As a way of, because of the Most High turned his back on the nation in the book of Daniel, he closed the book and the prophecies. And you see, thus the end result. And a continuation of those end results are us a monstrosity because of a lack of knowing who you are, what you are, and what you should be doing, and certainly a lack of regard and love for the Elohim, and also conjunction with that, a lack of love and regard for one another. So our priests ceased to show any interest in serving the altar, but scorning the temple and neglecting the sacrifice, they were hurried on the stroke of the gourmet. It's time to take part in the distribution forbidden by the law of the oil on the extra. Man, give me some of that oil so I rub on me so I want the extra. I will look good. I want my flex, I want my chest to be looking good by virtue of our enemies. oil ourselves down like a Frankfurter. But we ain't going no further. I ain't trying to be facetious or ugly, but I am. Because the evidence in this regard speaks loudly. Setting no store by the honors of their fatherland. They had no regard for us as a people. That's in contemporary times. They esteemed Hellenistic glory as best of all, as they did in ancient times. Surely the evidence speaks for itself in this regard. We don't want to be, some of us don't want to be, thinking Hebrew Israelites. We want to be a part of the Roman Catholic Church. We want a derivative of that by way of their religion. We want to be a Muslim. We want to be a Buddhist. We want to be everything but our thing. If that ain't a monstrosity, I don't know what is. Setting no store by the honors of their fatherland, they esteem Hellenistic glory as best of all. They got, what's that old saying? I heard it a long time ago when I was a young boy. And they were saying, give me some of that water and give me some ice. And so he said, no, I'm going to get some ice and water from the white folks. They water better than your water. We have the same mindset now. They water better than our water. And that's why we have been reduced to a monstrosity, a sad statement of affairs, that we take no honor in our fatherland. It is no small thing to, okay, let's go back up. Verse 15. But all this brought its own retribution. You reap what you sow, so to speak. The very people whose way of life they envied, whom they sought to resemble in everything, to prove to be their enemies and executioners. Don't that spring a bell to you? I'm a vote for Donta. I'm a vote for... And come on now. It's going to prove in the case of the Maccabees, and it's certainly in the case of these contemporary times. And what is said in the book of Maccabees, verse 16. But all this, they read what they say, all this brought its own retribution. The very people whose way of life Yah said don't be like them. They envy, we envy them, we envy them now. Whom they sought to resemble in everything proved to be their enemies and executioners. It is no small thing, in verse 17, to violate the divine laws, and it certainly is. As the period that follow will demonstrate, certainly in our case. Verse 18, on the occasion of the Quadrennia, 4-year games at Tyre, the Greek games, in the presence of the Greek king, we still celebrate that Greek's way of life. We think it's better than ours. And certainly in some cases, true, because we ain't doing nothing. We ain't doing nothing for one another. We ain't trying to do nothing for one another. And we don't think about doing anything for one another. We certainly don't do good by our widow. We certainly don't do good by our orphans. We certainly don't do good for our homeless and needy. We certainly don't know how to do no good. And so in some sense of the word, it's quite true. But it's not by force, it's by choice. Instead of putting you and your people on a high pedestal in regards to the Most High and in regards to one another, we've denigrated one another. We simply call our women B's and W's. We call our brothers stupid, so and so and so, so and so and that, and so and this. We have little regard and a little esteem for our brothers and our sisters. So surely, as far as our ancients was concerned, it would seem to them that the Greek way is the best way, just like in these contemporary times. The German way is the best way. The French way is the best way. The Canadian way is the best way. But what about your own ways? What about studying who you are, what you are, and what you should be doing, and find out the best way by way of gathering yourself together and make it a best way instead of monstrosity? Yes, it would appear to seem, yeah, everybody else got it going on. We ain't got nothing, we ain't doing nothing. We have a meeting, have another meeting about the meeting we had before. We're gathered together by the gathering we had before, and when we gather together, ain't nothing been done when we got there. We need to start just not simply lip service, but by virtue of our action. Let our action speak for our love for the Most High and our brothers and sisters. Let us emulate that process. Instead of talking about it, let's be about it. Praise the Most High. So, in verse 19 of 2 Maccabees chapter 4, the vows are sown. Our brother sent an embassy of Antiochus. I told you, it was not no Antichrist. It was but they have made a play on words now with the Roman Catholic Church. The Antiochus, they were supporters of Antiochus, the Greek way, from Jerusalem, taking with them 300 silver drachmas from the sacrifice, to Hercules. I guess that's why we do Christmas time. That's why we do Easter time and all other time, because we think their way is better than our way, because we don't work on our way. We just work on each other's nerve, arguing, cussing, fussing, and fighting, and sometimes killing one another. That's not our way. That's a monstrosity. Because you know why? You're not studying the word of Yah. You're getting into it to feel good, but you're not getting into it to feel right and do good by virtue of the Most High and your brothers and our sisters. And thus we've been reduced to a Messiah. You won't get together. Oh, I ain't gonna give it, say that old Negro. He don't know. I ain't talking to Cadre. What you doing? Nothing, but I ain't giving nobody. I ain't got myself together with nobody because I'm something special. But let me break it down to you, my young brother, my young sister, and some of my old brothers and old sisters. You ain't nothing special unless we're all special. You better get it right. You better get your heart, because you got the game twisted. Okay? Ain't no special brother and a sister. The whole nation is special, a peculiar people. And the Most High didn't choose no individual. The Most High chose a nation. So you better get a national state of mind before you get left behind, truth be told. And so they were doing this to sacrifice to Hercules. But even those who bought the money did not think it would be right to spend on the sacrifice and decided to reserve it for some other item of expenditure. In verse 20. And so what the Senate had intended to sacrifice to Hercules was in fact applied at the suggestion of those who brought it to the construction of the Trimedes. You know what Trimedes are? That's what we ask y'all to study. They're ships more like Roman warships and Greek warships with 3-layer tiers. So they said, let's build some military ships. Let's build something of value so we can use it against people. So they decided to take the money for the construction of the Trimedes, these warships. In verse 21, Apollonius, son of Mnestheus, these two Greeks, had been sent to Mataram, y'all call it Egypt, to attend the wedding of the king of Ptolemy. They took over Mataram. That's why it's mixed today. And a whole lot of Hamites ain't in there. There's a whole lot of Greeks, a whole lot of Arab, mixtures, everybody but the originals, whom look somewhat remotely like us. You can see it by way of their encryptions that they shared. They love to reveal to us. That's why that Italian, what's the little short fella? A Napoleon shot off the nose of the Sphinx. That's why he shot the nose off. He had a brother nose, okay? And he said, no, they can't have this much intelligence. Let's shoot that nose off, okay? He needed a European cautious nose, a Japhite nose. So the Senate intended to sacrifice to Hercules. In fact, at the suggestion of those who brought it to the construction of the Trimedes, Apollonius, son of Mnestheus, these Greeks had been sent to Mataram, Egypt, to attend the wedding of King Philometor. Antichus, having learned that the latter had become hostile to his affairs, began thinking about his own safety. They're always thinking about themselves. That was why he had come to Joppa. Then he moved to Jerusalem, where he was given a magnificent welcome by Jason, our brother, in the city, and escorted in by torchlight with acclamation, after which he marched his army into Phoenicia. All about that war, baby. They ain't changed. That's why the Ukrainians are fighting against Vladimir Putin. They're all about that war, baby. Verse 23. When the 3 years had passed, Jason said, Menelaus, you will find out. Read about Menelaus. You heard about Helen of Troy? Well, Menelaus is supposed to be married to Helen of Troy. And that's a true story. A woman beauty that launched the war, the Trojan War, against one another. Menelaus is the individual husband, brother of the Simeon mentioned above. Okay. No, not this Menelaus. Said Menelaus. Okay, yes, it is. Said Menelaus, Jason, said brother of the Simeon. That's their brother mentioned above, to convey the money to the king. And this Menelaus is the Greek. Jason is the Hebrew. Simeon is the Hebrew. And Menelaus is the Greek. This very same Greek was married to Helen of Troy. Mentioned above, to convey the money to the king and to complete negotiation on various essential matters. But Menelaus, this Greek, had been presented to the king, flattered him by his own appearance of authority, and so secured the high priesthood for himself. Outbidding Joshua, no, I guess this Menelaus. No, I think it's Menelaus secured office. This Menelaus, I'm thinking was Greek, but by my studies, this guy's a Greek. Secured the high priest for himself, outbidding Joshua by 300 talents of silver. He returned with the royal mandates, bringing nothing worthy of the high priesthood, and supported only by the fury of a cruel tyrant and the rage of a savage beast. So Joshua, who had supplanted his own brother, was in turn supplanted by a third. Yes, they're Hebrews, and obliged to take refuge in Amanateas, which is Edom. Well, now, which is Ammon, the region of Ammon. As for Menelaus, he secured the office, but defaulted altogether on the sum promised to the king. Although Sora taught us, this Greek, the commander of the citadel, whose business it was to collect the revenues, kept demanding the payment. The pair of them, in consequence, were summoned before the king. Menelaus, leaving his brother Lysimachus as deputy high priest, with Sosaratus, left Crates, the commander of Cyprus, to act for him. While this was going on, it happened that the people of Tarsus and Malus revolted because their town had been given as a present to Antiochus, the king's concubine, the king's woman. The king therefore hurried off to settle the affair, leaving Andronicus as one of his dignitaries to act as his deputy. Thinking he had found a favorable opportunity, Menelaus abstracted a number of gold vessels from the temple and presented them to Andronicus, and managed to sell others to Tyre and the surrounding cities. On receiving clear evidence to this effect, Ananias, used to be high priest, retired to a place of sanctuary at Daphne near Antiochus, and then tasked him with it. 34, verse 34. Menelaus then had a quiet word with Andronicus, urging him to get rid of Ananias, his brother. Andronicus sought out Ananias, used to be high priest, and resorting to the trick of offering him his right hand. Oh, they got warehouses open. We can attest to that. They just pardon criminals going up in there to their way. They got warehouses open. They don't mean nothing in laws. Succeeded in persuading him, despite the latter's lingering suspicion, to leave the sanctuary. Whereupon, in defiance of all justice, he immediately he told him a lie. He put his hand out and had a blade in the back, in the other hand. The result was not only Yehudites, but many people of other nationalities were appalled and outraged by the unjust murder of this man. That's what they do. On the king's return, this Greek, from the region of Cilicia, the Yehudites of the capital, and those Greeks who shared the hatred of the crime, not of us, the crime, appealed to him about the unjust murder of Ananias, the used to be high priest, before he was circumvented. Antiochus, this Greek, was profoundly grieved as a result of Ananias' murder and filled with pity. He wept for the prudent and moderation of the dead man. He wept because of this man's personality. Burning with indignation, he immediately stripped Andronicus, this Greek, of the purple. You know, they wore purple. Tore his garment off him, parading him through the length of the city, read the word of the assassin on the very spot he had laid impious hand on Ananias, the high priest. The Elohim, because they didn't, a high priest couldn't be traded off, bought out, so that they had a lifelong. When you become a high priest, it was to death. but they were selling it then for tools and food, shabbing and conniving. Some brothers and sisters, contemporary speakers, seem to have the same mindset. The Elohim dealing out to him the punishment he deserved. And that's what I suggest and infer and imply. Ask the Most High. Stop trying to do things on your own. Ask the Most High. Go to Psalm 91, or either ask the Most High to bless those that bless you and curse those that curse you, or those that return you evil for good. It's just that simple. Verse 39. Now, Shipmochus, this Greek with the connivance was cunning of this guy ain't going back. He's still in the plan. Menalichus had committed many sacrilegious thefts in the city. And when the facts became widely known, the populace arose against Shimachus, who had already disposed of many pieces of gold plate, was stealing, hand over foot. The infuriated mob was becoming menacing, and Shimachus armed nearly 3,000 men and took aggressive action. The troops were led by a certain Oronanus, a Greek, a man advanced in years and no less than folly. This man was advancing in and no less, he was dirty, so to speak. When he said no less than folly, his years is sort of equal to his folly. Recognizing this act of aggression as the work of Lysimachus, this Greek, some snatched up stones and other cordials, while others scooped up hands of ashes lying. They got anything they could put their hand on, that hand. All hurling everything indiscriminately at Lysimachus, this Greek, men, to such effect that they wounded many of them, even killing the fruit, and routed them all, the sacrilegious thief himself. They killed near the treasury, where he did his dirt. As a result of this, legal proceeding was taken against Menelaus. When the king came down to Tyre, 3 men deputed by the Senate pleaded their case before him. Menelaus, seeing the case had gone against them, promised a substantial, but they can buy anything, promised a substantial sum to Ptolemy, this Greek son of Dorymenes, if he would influence the king in his favor. In verse 46, Ptolemy then took the king aside in a colonnade, as though for a breath there. Come on, I said, let me rap to you. And persuaded him to change his mind. Change your mind. The king, in verse 47, didn't dismiss the charge against Menelaus, this Greek king, the cause of all this evil. He was the cause of all this evil. Well, he condemned to death the other poor wretches who, had they pleaded even before the Scythians, these Greeks would have been let off scot-free. Verse 48, no time was lost in carrying out this unjust punishment on those who had championed the cause of the city, the townships, and the sacred vessel. Some Tyrians were even so outraged by the crime, they provide subsidies for their funeral. While, as a result of the greed of a powerful Menelaus, remained in power. Crooked men sometimes remain in power. I think the evidence speaks for itself. Wouldn't you say so? In this Western Hemisphere, United States of America? I think so. And what did he do, Menelaus? I suspect this guy would do the very same thing, growing more wicked than ever and establishing himself as the chief enemy of his fellow citizens. I'm not talking about all citizens. He pardoned those he loved. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about me. So it would be imperative and incumbent upon you to study these studies, meditate on them, and take them to heart, because there's something serious out here, brothers and sisters. I may say some things in jest, but some of the most serious matters have been said in jest. Praise Yah and bless his holy name. So before I continue on in the studies, I will ask my Isha and sister Nasanya to make a comment if she chooses to. Then Brother Yakanan, if he chooses to. Then my fellow elder, and elder on the council, Brother Carter, if he chooses to. Praise Yah. You have the mic. Lasagna, your mic is hot.
No, no, you guys go ahead.
Thank you. Yochanan, you have the mic.
Shalom, shalom. Just want to praise the Most High for us, giving us the strength to carry on. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Yochanan. Praise the Most High. Brother Cartrell, you have the mic.
All praise to the Holy One of Israel for another great lesson in our history. The thing I noticed is that all these great kingdoms, they needed us to have power. Why is the Greek and Romans so focused on Jerusalem and our land? It seems like every decision they made was based on what they did with our land. And even now, our land and Jerusalem is pivotal in what goes on in the world today. Matter of fact, they're talking about World War III if things break out in the middle, what they call the Middle East.
Right.
But the Roman Empire and the Babylonian Empire and the Assyrian Empire, they always had have their hands on our land and our people. Just like now, they got their hands on our people. America would not be America with the power that it has without our people. So we can see that even with the punishment that Yah puts on us, we're a blessing to the nations, even to the empires that have existed in the past. And I didn't realize how intricately involved until these studies that the initial part of the Greco-Roman Empire was so involved with our ancient fathers, namely the Maccabees, and their war with them. Praise Yah.
Praise Yah. Good point. Very astute, my brother. Praise the Most High. It's obvious, Brother Cartier, that the Most High is giving you wisdom and understanding. And bless him for that. Praise Yah. That being said, Brother Cartier will proceed in the last segment of study for the night by the prophet Amos, chapter 6. And it reads as warning to Zion and Samaria. Praise Yah. Brother Cartier, you have the mic.
Well, praise again to the Holy One of Israel for the great prophet Amos. In chapter 6, he's talking about what we just talking about, Zion, Jerusalem, same place. But this is prior to the Maccabees. As a matter of fact, the book of Amos, he's dealing with the northern tribes even before they went into captivity. And in chapter 6, he says, alas, for those who are at ease in Zion, and for those who feel secure on the mountains of Samaria, talk about the northern tribes and Yehuda, because Zion is in Jerusalem and Samaria is where the northern tribes were. So Yah's message is to the whole nation, even though they were divided. The leaders of the most important of the nations to whom the people of Israel have recourse, cross over into Calneh and see, travel on from there to Hamath, the great, and they'll go down to Gath, to other Philistines. So Yah's telling us to visit all these ancient cities that were greater than us, that have been there before us, that are more ancient than us, that got roots deeper than we do. And Yah brought them down. And it's like, I brought them down, I could bring you down too. So are you better than these kingdoms? Just like now, we're not better than the kingdoms that got us in captivity now, but we may think we are, even though they have power over us. Is your territory greater than theirs? We don't even have our territory today. And we can see that the Greeks and the Romans and the Babylonians and the Assyrians constantly invaded our territories. And apparently we didn't have the necessary defenses that we needed in order to defend it. You put aside all thoughts. You put aside all thoughts of the evil day and thereby hasten the reign of violence. Yeah, the evil day is the judgment that Yah's going to bring on them for the actions that they've taken because they were corrupt. They abandoned Yah. They were worshiping idols. And Yah had already set the judgment for the northern tribes. He said, alas, for those who lie on beds of ivory, They was living large. I ain't never seen no better ivory. And lounged on their couches. They feast on lambs from the flock and store fattened calves. That was some good eating. They improvise on the music of the harp. That's what we do. We got some of the greatest music in the world. And like King David, they invent musical instrument. Yes, because as a nation, as a people, that's our blessing. We are musically inclined. We will play music out of pots and pans and bottles and sticks or whatever. We'll make anything an instrument and make some music. They drink wine by the bowlful. No, not just by a glassful or a cupful or a wine glass. You're drinking wine by the bowlful. But these come from the bounties that Yah gave us as a nation. And we became full of ourselves. Yah gave us so much plenty, we forgot about him. And they anoint themselves with the finest oils. You know, we like to smell good. But they feel no grief over the ruin of Joseph. Yeah, we could look outside and see our brothers and sisters suffering. As long as we good, we good. I got my oils, I got my wine, I got my music, I got my lamb, I got my fat calves. What else I'm supposed to worry about? Therefore, they will now be the first to go into exile. Yeah, I was watching all the fat cats, all the Israelites with the big money that's looking at our people suffer and not really helping them. And guess who gets it first? He said, they're going to get it first. He said, therefore, they will now be the first to go into exile, which they were. And their wanton rivalry will come to an end. Yah Elohim has sworn by himself. Thus say I, Yah, the Elohim of hosts. I abhor the pride of Yaakov. So why are Israelites walking around so proud, so arrogant, so haughty? Yah hates that. He said, I abhor the pride of Yaakov. He's talking about the whole nation. You king this, you priest that, you holier than thou, this and that, you anointed and sanctified. Yah hates that. He said, and I hate his palaces, all these lavish places that we built up to celebrate who? Ourselves. I shall deliver up the city, which he did, and all that's in it. If 10 men are left in a single house, they will die. Only a few will be left to carry out the dead from the house. And that's why we're in captivity now, because Yah cleansed us out, spit us out of our land. And we don't even have a clue as to what our homeland is. If someone calls to a man inside the house, are you there anymore? There? And he answers no. Then he will say, hush, for the name of Yah must not be mentioned. Why? Because you mentioned the name of Yah. Yah's going to put judgment on y'all. The judgment was on them. And they wasn't calling on Yah for help, were they? At Yah's command, the great house will be shattered to bits. It's too late to call on Yah now. After the judgment has been placed. It's like the people in Noah's time. Oh, forgive us, Yah. We'll help Noah build a boat. No, the boat is already built. The doors are shut. The water's coming. And you didn't help him when you had the opportunity to do it. So Yah says, the great house will be shattered to bits, and the small houses will be reduced to rubble. Can a horse gallop over rocks? Can one plow the sea with oxen? Yet you have turned justice into poison. And that's what we see in America. So we got a felon. I say we. The United States got a felon that's the chief executive officer of the nation. Why? Because justice is poison. There is no justice. And the fruit of justice into venom. No justice, no peace. You who rejoice in Lo Debar, who say, have we not by our own strength sieved Canaan for ourselves? Yah says, beware, O house of Israel, for I am rising up against you a nation, says Yah, the Elohim of hosts, and that nation shall oppress you from Lebo to Hamath, even to the Wadi Arabah, to the Wadi of Arabah. So Yah don't play with words, and he fulfilled his words that the prophet Amos spoke to our fathers in their time, and they weren't wise enough to heed the warnings and make the necessary corrections. We have this. We have the time to sit down and study Yah's word, to look at the mistakes our ancient fathers made, the flaws and the fallacies they had, and Yah gives us the antidote. He tells us how to rectify the situation, and it does start with us individually. You have to look into yourself and see what you're doing. Have you humbled yourself? Have you chosen a path of righteousness to walk in? Do you communicate with the Most High on a regular basis? Just by daily prayers, giving thanks and praise for what he does for you. And these are simple things, but you should have the mindset of King David, as we've studied, in order to really heighten your spirituality, because man is made up of mental, physical, and spiritual. But the emphasis in today's time is the mental and the physical. And people of today are debunked spiritually because we're not connected with Yah. And Yah has given us the opportunity to get to know him, to learn him, to follow and obey him. So we thank Yah for the opportunity to teach this to the world, to our people, and to apply to ourselves. Praise Yah.
Praise Yah. Thank you, Brother Cartrell. Thank you, Nisanya. Thank you, Yakanan. And thank you, fellow students. And praise the Most High. Before we say our shaloms or good nights, I simply like to say that we've done our due diligence, more obligation. Nisanya, as the administrator and producer of the show, Yochanan making his comments where he feels that his comments are valid. Brother Catriel sharing with you the studies, as in the case of the book of Amos, and so on and so forth. And Yam Sufa reads the study of the second book of Maccabees. There's nobody special on this show. The Most High is special.
So
that being said,
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Before you close out, I just want to know if there's any comment on the book of Amos before you close out, like we do comment on Maccabees.
Oh yeah. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Nasanya. You have any comment, Nasanya, on the book of Amos? All right.
I'm sorry. No, I didn't have any comments. It was basically it was self-explanatory. It was like if you understood, you understood. So
okay,
I understood it. Yes, sir.
Praise y'all for your wisdom and understanding. Thank you. Yochanan, you have any comments, my brother?
Just here for the growth tonight.
Thank you, brother. Praise y'all. Well, I'm a thank you, Yochanan. I'm gonna concur with my Esau said. It's self-explanatory. It's quite simple. Praise y'all. Cartrell, do you have any additional comments?
On the book of Amos I just read, it shows that the Most High, when our actions are not aligned with Yah, the judgment that he's going to bring down on us, he don't play with. So, words to the wise, it's like a reflection in the mirror. We need to look how our ancient fathers were disconnected from Yah and how we need to get reconnected. Praise Yah.
Praise the Most High. So that being said, we've done our due diligence and more obligation as citizens of the nation, as in the case of Basanya and Brother Yochanan, as elders of the nation, in the case of Yom Suf, in the case of Cartrell. We've been more obligated and duty bound to do no less, provide this information to you, to provide this roadmap for you. Seeing as you don't know who you are and or what you are and or what you should be doing, we're here to provide that information for you, so you don't have to second guess it. It's an open book test that Brother Cartrell always alludes to, and it's true. We're humbly honored to be able to do this on the Real Talk for Real People study show. And we love the Most High with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength. In conjunction with that, our brothers and sisters as ourselves. But it's incumbent upon you to do something for yourselves. Meditate on the word of Yah. Lean on the word of Yah. Trust in the word of Yah. Then apply the word of Yah. And let the Most High footstep be your pathway. Virtually, it means is let his word be your pathways. Not your own leaning to your own understanding, but his word and his word alone. And so at the end of these studies, the Most High word is going to work in spite of us and irregardless of us. but are much more beneficial for you, individually speaking, if you work it, you utilize it, you activate it. Praise Yah and bless his holy name. But before we leave, Brother Cottrell and I, as executive elders on the council of this nation in captivity, we have some additional information to share with you. The charter of the nation in this captivity. Article 5. The people of the United Nations of Israel are scattered throughout the entire earth and have blended and mixed with other cultures. Therefore, as a nation of people made up of many people who extend beneficial and capital interests over a vast geographic area, not limited to our own inherited promised land. Upon completion of the neutralization process, benefits and service will commence. Article 16. United Nation of Israel is a sovereign nation. State requires no benefits, privileges, or franchise to any other governmental or outside party, and therefore the state or its citizens owe no duty to any other government or other outside parties. Article 17. United Nation of Israel is formed based on an everlasting covenant made by the Most High Yahweh with his chosen people, the nation of Israel. Therefore, this charter, trust, and nation are not bound by any rule, any perpetuities, or any irrevocable. Article 18. Excuse me. The Council of Elders is empowered to control every aspect of the nation according to this charter. These powers include, but not in no way limited to, number 1, the power to bind the nation in a contract, especially where no such obligation is implied by law. The power to contract with members and the citizens. Number 2, the power to partition, exchange, sell, pledge, or mortgage the nation's property, either in whole or part. Part 3, the power to lease nation property. Number 4, the power to issue, change, or otherwise dispose of securities of the nation. Number 5, the power to support the members and citizens in all reasonable manner. Number 6, the power to persecute and defend the nation's name or council of elders' name. Number 7, the power to make gifts of nation property. Number 8, the power to delegate all unessential powers and duties, and the power, and number 9, the power to exercise personal judgment and every discretionary power not prohibited by the charter. He or she may do whatever a man or woman may lawfully do according to natural law. So that doesn't conclude it. I will continue in verse 9 tomorrow. And the closing here is our part of our Constitution. Freedom and Rights, Part 2. Article 15. Basic provisions. Freedom and rights shall be executed in accordance with the Torah, which is in the basis of this Constitution. Article 16. Freedom and equality. All citizens are free and equal regardless of any particularities and or other personal attributes, equal before the Torah. Article 17. Freedom is an unalienable right. Everyone is obliged to respect freedom of others. Abuses of freedom shall be considered a transgression of the Torah, unconstitutional and punishable. Article 18, protection. All citizens are entitled to equal protection of his freedom and rights in the procedure prescribed by law. All citizens are guaranteed the right to an appeal against decisions made by the Council of Elders. Article 19. All citizens shall have the right to legal assistance. Personal freedoms and rights. Article 20. Personal sovereignty. The integrity of a man, his privacy, and personal rights are indisputable. He is sovereign from birth. The dignity and freedom of a man are irrevocable. But subordinate to the Torah as is written. Article 21, capital punishment. Human life is sacred. Capital punishment may be ruled and pronounced only for the most serious criminal offenses. Praise Yah. as part of the Constitution. I will continue reading that tomorrow also, along with the charter, while we are in these captivity. The elders have that moral obligation and rights. We don't have a king. We don't have a high priest. We don't have a prince of each tribe. But the key component that we had and that we do have is the elders. Praise y'all and bless his holy name. And if someone says otherwise, you bring the Most High word to me. Bless his holy name. Brother Cottrell, Sister Nasanya, Brother Yakanan. Sister Nasanya, do you have any closing remarks and comments? Turn your mic on, Isha. There you go.
Got it. Now I just want to say all praises and have a good night.
Thank you, Nasanya. Brother Yakanan, any closing remarks?
Once again, praise Most High for the strength He give us to carry on.
Praise y'all, Yakanan. Thank you very much, brother. Brother Cottrell, any closing remarks and comments?
All praise to the Holy One of Israel, and may the words of our mouth and meditations of our heart be acceptable before Him, our rock, our Redeemer. May the Most High continue to bless and be with us. Shalom and good night.
Shalom and good night.
Thus saith the Lord, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might. Let not the rich man glory in his riches, but let him that glorieth glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me, that I am the Lord who exercise mercy, justice, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, saith the Lord.
Too young to speak, too young to teach, too afraid to speak to the world. God is calling me to say these words, but my brothers wanna kill me, brothers wanna kill me. Too young to speak, too young to teach, too afraid to speak to the world. God is calling me to say these words, but my brothers wanna kill me, brothers wanna kill me. Oh, son of Hilkiah, prophesy with open eyes, speak to all the peoples. Tell the princes and the priests, stop ripping off the peoples every time they speak. I said, oh Yehovah, I cannot speak, for I'm a little child. He said, say not, I'm a child. Dug it up, suck it up, I'm with you now. He took his words and touched my mouth with his hands. I will order my judgments against them, touching all the wickedness in his land. Thus saith Jehovah, the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel. Amend your ways and your doing, and I will cause you to dwell in this place. If you thoroughly execute justice between a man and his neighbor in each case. If you will not oppress the poor and not shed innocent blood in this place. But the elders wouldn't hearken, they forsook his word. Each man had his own plan. The strong crushed the weak and withheld all the goodness of their hands. And I've been thrown in jail and chastised by the priests. The princes want to see me dead, the peoples want to see me burn. The evil is here. Too young to speak, too young to teach, too afraid to speak to the world. God is calling me to say these words, but my brothers want to kill me, brothers want to kill me. Behold, I will bring all the evil upon them, crushing them. For the words which they forsook, for the poor they've overlooked, for the dishonest gain they took. Now we will see if they're able to save themselves. Brace yourselves, for Jehovah is coming to judge. Now he who bore that grudge and he who coveted his neighbor's stuff will die. Now they cry unto me, begging me mercy, Lord. But when they judge, they have no mercy, only the sword. Jeremiah, Jeremiah, why do you cry? Why do you cry for them? Cause brother hates sister, and the enemies of a man are his friends. But they do not want to keep my laws, they don't even comprehend. that loving your neighbor as thyself will make you to understand. On your own, my king, when shall it be that brothers will learn to love and sisters will come together? Stop talking about one another, we gotta love each other. Oh, why? It seems they chose to die. It seems they don't wanna hearken to the words that came from the Most High. My wrath will wax out against my people who chose to forsake my name. Only then will the memory return when they realize to change their ways. Too young to speak, too young to teach, too afraid to speak to the world. Father's calling me to say these words, but my brothers wanna kill me, brothers wanna kill me. Too young to speak, too young to teach, too afraid to speak to the world. Father's calling me to say these words, but my brothers wanna kill me, brothers wanna kill me.